Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. We're going to take a look at my SuperCoach Traps for 2020. I did the must-haves the other day and I always followed up with the traps. Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird week just with not knowing if the season was going ahead and I haven't been feeling the greatest either. You can probably tell in my voice I haven't been 100%. Yeah, just pretty much spent Wednesday just on the couch watching 360 and other random shows. So yeah, I'll endeavour to get this up as close to sort of 6 o'clock as I can. Not that the traps is super relevant, and I did mention about going live. It's not going to happen just yet, mainly because of how I'm feeling. And also just the time frame. I'm heading to the doctors now, and I've got a mate moving in to stay a couple of weeks because his parents are quarantined, so it's just a weird ass time. But I'll have the traps up tonight. I'll wait and see the teams, and I'll put up my video for my side, and I do endeavour on releasing one more league code before the bounce of the ball tonight. So yeah, I'd say expect probably 3 videos in 2 or 3 hours from Shorty tonight. But the traps, now, I had 5 must-haves, and must-haves are a lot easier. There are blokes that I don't necessarily subscribe to their selection. I don't like it as much, but I don't feel as if they're traps. But I've picked 3 blokes who seem relatively popular that I just think are no-goes, and I definitely do feel as if they are traps. Now, I'm going to start with the one that I believe's in the most percentage of teams of these 3 blokes. It's Tom Mitchell. Now, Mitchell has come off a massive layoff with obviously the leg injury, which was severe. Now, he has looked alright in some practice games, but we've got to take into consideration the game upon game effect, and it's so hard to discuss these topics because he might have 3 months in between games, but also if we start playing games every 4 or 5 days, he will struggle immensely. I reckon he was going to get rested at some point anyway with just normal weeks, you know. He's a bloke that, like O'Meara, like others that we've seen, I just don't know if they're 22 game per year players anymore. He's a ball magnet, don't get me wrong, but there's got to be massive question marks over not so much his scoring, because he'll still be an outstanding scorer. When he plays, I feel as if he just finds the ball. But 630k is a lot of money. It's a lot of coin. When we've got that much doubt around the body and blokes come back, often you at least like to feel they're a bit of value to you, like a Doherty and those sort of things. Obviously, because he averaged such unbelievable numbers, his discount sees him sort of around an unbelievable price anyway. But I just think it's way too much to pay, and I think he's going to be a big trap if we go with him. Second up is Michael Walters, and this one I don't feel as passionate about, but I do feel like he shouldn't be a guy we start with. And I know that there are a few people starting him, and the forward line is proving difficult to find reliable options. But I think we should go with Martin and Whitfield and round it out with maybe a Smith or a Brayshaw, not Stephen anymore because he's bloody out, that caught me by surprise. So get him out of your sides, he's out of mine. But I just think Walters, yes, he's had some career best seasons, and I reckon last year was probably his best season. But he often has the odd run-in with the tribunal. His body has let him down at times, and I just feel like he's a bloke that will play a bit more time forward as well. There is a bit of uncertainty around his position. We even saw in the practice games that he'd play a quarter forward, a quarter in the mid, and the Dockers need a player like him with his potency in attack. They do have a lot of young midfielders coming through, therefore I think it's a horses for courses. Sometimes Walters will be in attack just for the betterment of the team, but not necessarily for the value of our SuperCoach side. So I just think he's a risky option. And there is a bit of value in our forward lines, alongside two blokes I think are the biggest locks in the game. So that's just something to think about. And Rowan Marshall, this is the one that I'm most confident on being a trap. And it's got nothing to do with Marshall's ability. It's just the fact that another bloke's come along and he's going to share the ruckload with him, Paddy Ryder. Now, Marshall burst on the scene. What did he average, like 110? Caught me by surprise, caught a lot of people by surprise. But I've heard numerous interviews that Ryder and Marshall will share the ruckload. Sometimes they'll be forward. And Marshall, I'm sure, will still average a very good score. But it's not going to be enough to be a keeper. And he's not going to rival Grundy and Gawn. So we need to just go with someone that offers a little bit of value and can be a stepping stone to Gawn and Grundy if you're not starting both. I'm very confident that his average is going to go down by at least 10 points. And sharing the ruckload can be a recipe for disaster. He could have 3 weeks where he is in a bit of form, takes more of the ruck for whatever reason, maybe snags a couple of goals on this certain occasion, and for 3 or 4 weeks he averages 112. But he's definitely going to have weeks where he gets a bit cold in the forward line, or Ryder's just putting it at the feet of all his mids beautifully. So the coaching staff go, look, let's give Paddy this one because he's going well, rotate them, but Paddy's on. You know, they're going to rotate, they're going to share it. On any given day, one might get slightly more preference than the other. It's just not what we want. It's not what we want for a guy that we've got to pay that much coin, and a guy that made his name on being the sole ruck, and he did it brilliantly. So, unfortunately, I love him as a player, really great to watch, but he shouldn't be in our sides, I don't think. But look, I could only come up with 3. I once upon a time had Devon Smith in there, which I've famously eaten my words on that one, because he currently sits in my forward line. Oh, it was dramatic, wasn't it? I sat there in the Warralilly Woolworths car park and said how he was an absolute trap, beware. 3 weeks later, Shorty's picking him. So, anyway. But look, I'm very keen for the footy tonight. I've got mixed emotions about what it's going to be like. We're not going to have any crowds. It's going to be weird. We're inevitably going to stop the competition. It's going to be tough. So it's hard to get 10 out of 10 excited. But I think tonight, let's just embrace it. Let's get our SuperCoach sides right. And I more so can't wait for Friday night's game. That's going to be a perler. So yeah, whatever amount of footy we get, it's going to be great. It's going to suck when it's gone. The world's in a pretty unpredictable stage and there's so much uncertainty. So we'll just do the best we can. And I'll chat to you guys soon. Cheers.